those things.
You said before you didn't want to talk about, obviously specifics of contracts or anything like that, but do you feel that Al Golden deserves more than what he has right now, or what he's gone through and what he's going through? Do you think that he deserves a better contract?
I think that, first of all, I'm not going to go there relative to what you're asking, but all I can say is Al Golden has conducted himself as I think we all knew he would. He's a tremendous person. He's a tremendous teacher. He's optimistic. He's disciplined. He believes in all the right things. And I think that is a recipe for success, particularly as it relates to what I think and how I believe.
Have you talked to Al? Has he shared his feelings about?
Talk to Al every day.
What is he kind of told you as far as his feelings of, coaching here and in the future and whatnot?
Well, I know you talk to him regularly as well, and what I hear from him is what you hear from him. He is extremely excited to be the coach at the University of Miami. His family loves being here, and why would you not? The University of Miami is as good as it gets if you're going to get involved in college football, and we will get back there. We have high expectations, and so we talk about the positive things, the optimistic things, the things that we know that we can get done. It doesn't do us any good to talk about the rest of the stuff. We'll systematically get there.
Sean, I'm sorry, you're not the first school, obviously, to say that some version of to protect the integrity of the investigation, but. Why do you? And USC did it, Oregon did it to some extent, North Carolina did it, Auburn did it for a while. Why is it so imperative to keep some of these things off the radar and not have them out there? I mean, particularly at a time when the NCAA, for the past year or so, has reached out more to more and more outlets and said, we want to open up some veils on the process. We're just not going to talk to you about the specifics of the process. Why do you think it's so imperative that schools that find themselves in this way just say nothing about it?
Tim, I think that when the University of Miami sat down with folks from the NCAA, we agreed that this is how it was going to be. And so that's all I can really comment relative to that. It's a process. It's a public process. You can all go and read about how the process works. But I think it's best to not get involved in the process, because I think you might get yourself involved in specifics, which is just not an area I think that we want to go right now.
With football, once you asked for reinstatement of certain athletes, 12, 13, 14, whatever the exact number was, you got that fairly quickly. You got your answer before the season. There are still men's basketball players whose status is unknown. Are you hopeful that you'll get some resolution of that before November 11th?
Sooner than later. I'm certainly hopeful. We're hopeful relative to Daquan, but he has cooperated. We have cooperated, and we're going to let the process work itself out. And again, I hope sooner than later we'll be able to figure out where we're going to be.
If you were going to do something without Coach Golden's contract, what would the timeline of that be? Or what? I mean, obviously he has 4 years left. Is there any urgency, because this is the time of year when people come looking for coaches? And why did it come up today? If you have an opinion on why it might have come up today, or
I don't, Gary. Again, I just don't want to talk about the personnel, the contract piece, because I think that is really the bond that you have with your coaches. And so I think you'll find that if you talk to anybody who's ever worked with me, I'm extremely open and honest with my coaches, and we know where each person is at the end of the day. So I'll always be fair with the people that I work with, and I don't really know why today things popped up, but I'm excited to have Coach Golden here at the University of Miami.
But I'm do you feel any urgency to do something about it, or to change things, or alter the contract in any way, or is there an urgency on your part to do it soon, or?
That's not how I work. again, I'm going to go back to, I think the thing that's important at the end of the day, and that's that I just don't comment on those sorts of things.
A non-investigation question, if you don't mind. I know Jim has been, I'm guessing you don't mind. I know Jim has been very outspoken about must fill the building, must get out in the community, must do this, must do that. Got to get little kids in here, got to get the parents in here, and Katie, to a certain point, has followed that tack. That being said, football home games attendance hasn't really been much different than past years. Is it frustrating to you? Part of the process to you, and are there things you can do in the short term, as far as like, at the end of this season, 12 going forward, where you expect those numbers to really change?
Sure. Tim, good question relative to Jim, and I'm glad you brought it up because I don't think we can emphasize enough what he is trying to do in building a culture around basketball, whether it's his youth camps in the summer, the Cane Nation program that he's doing right now with our players coaching the young people. We had Miami Madness a couple weeks ago, which I really thought was a great event. It's a starting point. So you got a coach that cares about the whole thing, right? He not only cares about his kids, the University of Miami, the community, the young people, but he cares about the game of basketball. And he wants to bring that to a greater level here at the University of Miami. And Katie feels the same way. And that's why, the way they came together a couple of weeks ago with that event was a special event for us. So, but it's a process. I'm trying to, sit back and listen and learn and look. I don't like to talk a lot. I like to sit back and I like to hear what people have to say and take it all in. And once I do that, then we'll start getting together and we'll make some decisions about where we are. But I'm not going to get hung up on the attendance and all those sorts of things right now because we have got to build a sustainable foundation for the future. And once I think we do that, we plug the right people in place, like I think we have. I think those 4 coaches that I mentioned. I don't know if anybody across the country collectively has got that kind of coaching power. We really got exceptional coaches. And I would say that in all of our other programs, too, with Paige, Mario, Christy. We really have a group of coaches who I think are committed to doing the right thing. And this is a place, this is a canvas where you can do exceptional things.
You said you don't like to talk a lot. Why did you decide to talk to us today?
Good question.
We've been wanting to talk to you for a long time.
Sure. Well, more than anything, I wanted to come over and watch basketball, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to bring as many people over to watch basketball as well. And so it just seemed like the right thing to do and the right time to do it. And I appreciate all the patience that you all have had. And again, I've really been impressed for the most part. With respect to the stories that you're telling about our kids, because we have so many tremendous stories within our programs, and hopefully we'll continue to help you tell those stories.
Do you have a thought on this proposal that seems more a reality than a proposal about the $2,000 grant increase for athletes? Where that process has brought us to this point, I know that the conferences are talking about the mechanism to make that happen. I feel good about where we are with it. The devil's in the details. There's a lot of unknowns, but it's certainly something that we're going to have to absorb and figure out, because it is permissible legislation as I understand it. Hey, anything that we can do to help our student athletes within protecting the integrity of amateurism, I'm all for. And it's coming down from the presidents, and I have great respect for the presidents that run our institutions and the commissioners of our leagues. And so the devil will be in the details, and we'll figure out a way to make it work.
Do you think it will involve the non-revenue sports as well as the revenue sports, or too early?
I think I think there's an equivalency piece or a prorated piece relative to that. I just got to get more of the details to kind of sort through those things. I know that our compliance people, I think, had a regular meeting at the ACC this week anyway, and they'll probably bring back some of those things. But I'm sure that they'll get down to, not get down to, I'm sure it'll be a broad the group of student athletes that hopefully we'll be able to dip into those additional monies.
Hey, Sean, now that you've had a chance to see the football attendance situation and the stadium situation, the way all the fans are spread out all
Right.
over the place and stuff up close, is there any opinions you have about just the way it looks, in general on television and what you might want to do in the future to improve that situation and stuff like that?
I love it. I love it's a beautiful stadium, right? And I've really have enjoyed walking around and getting a feel for the place. Obviously, television loves the place, whether it's the stadium or the water and all the beautiful views of Miami. So, again, I think it's a positive for us, and as we build our program, I think that we'll hopefully continue to turn out crowds like we turned out for the Ohio State game. And but as Tim eloquently pointed out, we're kind of where we are over the course of 20 years. Take out the high, take out the low. It's kind of where we've been with our attendance. So it's a process, but I'm excited to be able to sell Sun Life Stadium to not only to our fans but to our student athletes. It's great. It's a great place.
Sean, I got to ask it, with Sun Life Stadium being this school's home field, how did you feel about the Dolphins honoring the University of Florida a couple of Sundays back?
I didn't have a feeling one way or another. Obviously that's a decision that the Dolphins have made, and I'll leave it at that. One of my really good friends who I played college football is the running back coach for the Denver Broncos and was the interim coach last year, Eric Stousville. So it was good to see him. Okay? I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank
All
you.
right.